In our previous class, we have discussed about the Boyle's law, Charles' law, right? But I just want to add on one thing that he just properly explained about the pressure and volume relationship. The Boyle's law. He stated that the pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Let me just share this paint with you, so that I can make things clear to you. So, if you assume this thing that he stated that Boyle's law said volume is inversely proportional to pressure, right? At constant temperature, because that is known as isotherm reaction. So, when temperature is constant, right, and the number of molecules, right, moles, the number of moles of gases are constant. So, pressure is directly proportional to inversely proportional to the volume, and he just gave its proportionality constant as k1. So v is equal to k1 into p. Okay, and if we rearrange this equation, what we will get, that vp is equal to k1, right? This is the k1 is the Boyle's law constant. So we know this thing that anything that have mass, means number of moles are fixed, right, that has volume, means it has density. We know this thing that density is equal to mass per volume. So anything, any material which has mass, fixed mass and volume, it means that the density is related to that. So what was that? We know this thing that d is equal to m upon v, density is equal to mass per volume. So if you substitute this equation 1 into the equation into this equation, right? So what will you get? So d is equal to m upon k1p. And we know this thing that if means if you just replace this thing with constant, so what will happen? P is equal to k, sorry, d is equal to kp. Okay, so what was that? So if you just substitute these two equations together, what will happen? What will you obtain? You will obtain this equation, which is d is equal to m upon k1. Let me just show you in the CRT in clear way. That is d is equal to m upon k1 p. And if instead of writing this m upon k1, they just he just gave a new constant, that is k dash. So this is k dash p. So technically the density is equal to k dash p. K is the constant. Okay, so after giving his law, he clearly stated that at constant temperature and number of moles of gases, the pressure is directly proportional to the density of a fixed mass of gas. Fixed mass is like, we are when we talk about the fixed mass, we are talking about the number of moles present, right? So he just said this thing in a clear way. Let's just go to the next topic, that is Gay-Lussac law. So Gay-Lussac law was that law in which the volume is constant and the number of molecules, number of moles of gases are constant. So we know this thing that pressure in a flat tire, if we talk about two seasons, then when we go to the shop to fill air in our gases, in our tires, vehicle tires, so they just measure the pressure, gas pressure with an instrument. So that pressure actually varies in winters and summers. Why? Because in summer season the climate is hot. Because of that, because of sun uh, rays, the ground become hot. And we know this thing from physics that when an object moves, then equal and opposite force exerted by the ground, that is known as the force of friction, which led to the increase in heat. And this heat increases the kinetic energy of the molecule, and when molecule kinetic energy of the molecule increases, then they start exerting pressure on the walls of that tire, and tire can get burst. But the vice versa process will happen in winter season. Because of the cool temperature, the ground remains cool, and the pressure of air pressure is towards the ground, because the kinetic energy of the gaseous molecules are less, so they are more attached towards the ground because of the gravitational force. Okay, and because of less temperature, what happened when tires move, So even after producing the heat due to the friction, what happened, the molecule of the kinetic energy is quite less as compared to the summer. Okay, so the mathematically he just explained this thing that pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Whenever you increase the temperature, it will affect the pressure. Whenever we just put when just blow put air into a balloon and put it in the exposure of sunlight, what happened, it get burst. Because of that sunlight temperature, what happened, the kinetic energy of the molecule inside that balloon increase, and which just exert pressure on the walls of the balloon, and that balloon can burst. But if you put that the balloon filled with air in AC or less temperature, right, standard temperature, okay, so it can survive more, because of that AC or cool temperature, the kinetic energy of the molecule is less, which led to the less pressure exerted by the molecules on the walls of that balloon, right? So pressure is directly proportional to temperature, and he just gave this proportionality constant as 3. So this relationship can be derived by Paul's law, Charles law. So pressure versus temperature. Temperature, we used to take the temperature in Kelvin. That was the new temperature unit that was explained by Charles in his law. Okay, so we just so the temperature, the reaction in which the temperature is volume is constant and pressure and temperature affect each other. So the type of reaction are known as isochore, right? So as you can see this thing, that how temperature affects the pressure. Okay, whenever just we increase the temperature, it will affect the pressure. Means if you just decrease temperature to 0 degree Celsius and give a standard temperature a pressure of 1 bar, what happens, the water can freeze. Means the liquid state can freeze and convert into solid state. Okay, so next law is Avogadro law, that is volume and amount relationship. So what happened? He just explained that the property of gas by considering the Dalton's atomic theory and the Gay-Lussac law. He just combined both the laws and take his idea, a new idea, and stated that the equal volume of all the gases under the same condition of temperature and pressure contain equal number of molecules. Means if you have pressure and temperature constant, then volume is directly proportional to the number of moles. If number of moles are high, then volume is high. If number of moles are less, then volume is less. Got it? So it will directly affect it. So n is the number of moles, v is the volume, which is directly proportional to each other, and if you and he just gave his proportionality constant, that is k. So we have so many k's here. K1 is for Boyle's law, K2 is for Charles law, K3 is for Gay-Lussac law, and K4 is for Avogadro law. So since from the Avogadro number we know this thing, that 1 mole of gas is equal to 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules. Means if we are taking 1 mole of any gas, so it means that we are taking 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules. Okay, so that was stated by Avogadro in its Avogadro number. Okay, so what happens, since volume of a gas is directly proportional to the number of moles, so it means that 1 mole of gas at standard temperature and pressure, STP. STP is standard temperature and pressure, where the conditions, the environmental conditions are fixed, means artificial. We are means we are providing that environment to the gas. And when we talk about NTP, normal temperature and pressure, means here we are talking about normal temperature, which is atmospheric temperature, right? Room temperature, and pressure is the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so there are two conditions, NTP and STP. So if we talk about STP, then we'll have volume. So standard temperature and pressure means it means that 273.15 Kelvin. We used to measure the temperature in Kelvin, okay, or that 0 degree Celsius, which is equal to 0 degree Celsius, and 1 bar of pressure, that is equal to 10 to the power 5 Pascal, right? Bar and pressure are the unit of pressure. Okay, so these value just approximate freezing point of the water, and the atmospheric pressure is sea level. So at standard, the molar volume of an ideal gas or a combination of ideal gas is it. So if you want to find out the molar volume, then what you have to just find it out, calculate it. So we have here that at standard temperature and pressure, molar volume of some gases are given here. Ideal means argon, carbon dioxide, dinitrogen, dioxygen, dihydrogen, and ideal gases we have. So how you just can find it out, how you just relate it according to the molar mass and mass of the gases. So we just explained this thing, that how you can calculate the number of moles. So number of moles is equal to given mass upon molar mass. This thing we have learned in first chapter. Okay, mass means given mass, small m is the given mass, the mass of gas, in which amount the mass we are taking. Okay, and m, capital M, is the molar mass of that gas. Okay, so we know this thing from this Avogadro law. We know this thing that n is equal to what? N is equal to V and K. So if we just substitute this equation 5.11 into this 5.12, then what will obtain? V is equal to K4 upon M and N. We just put this value of n, and n is here. We just replace this n and put m, small m upon capital M here. So at this time we just finded this equation. Okay, so what happened? We know this thing that we just replace or rearrange the things. We just take, means m as the multiple at opposite side, r is this at multiple, means numerator, and then we just come to v here, and denominator means dividend. So what happened? We just find out, we just obtain a new reaction, new value. What happened? Molar mass is equal to K4 m upon V, and we know this thing that mass per volume is density. So we just put the value of mv here. So what is d? So the equation 5.14 is the density. So after this we just find it out that density of a gas is equal to K4, that is the constant, okay, into d. So d is the density of the gas. Okay, so we just find it out from here that the density of a gas is directly proportional to its molar mass. Means if density of gas is high, it's molar, means if molar mass is high, the density is high. If molar mass is less, then the density is less, right? So a gas that follow Boyle's law, Charles law, and Avogadro law, it's just strictly known as ideal gas. Means if a gas follows strictly all the three laws, means all the conditions can apply on that gas, so that is known as ideal gas. But the critical thing is that no gas is ideal gas, right? Because if we talk about the noble gases, so we just, it was our assumptions that noble gas, uh, they just can't bind together, because there is no intermolecular force which that can exist between the noble gases. Okay, so this was a hypothetical gas. Okay, so we know this thing that intermolecular does not exist between the ideal gas, but the real gas follow these law under some specific condition. So if we just putting a gas into the standard condition or specific condition, what happens? Just we they can combine easily. I think we know this thing. We have learned this thing in previous topics. What happened when molecules combine together, means like noble gases combine, we know this thing that He2 does not exist because its bond order is 0. He2 molecule does not exist. Na? Gases can combine and form diatomic for stability, but in case of noble gases or ideal gases, they don't combine actually. But technically, if we are providing some special condition and put the molecules together, then special type of force can exist between them. As we have learned, part of this covalent and ionic bond, covalent bond, we have what? We have some other forces that exist between the molecules. Okay, so if we just put two neutral atoms, means two helium atoms, so these two helium atoms can combine. Okay, because of the charge of one atom another atom become dipole. So we just can induce a dipole on them, and just they can combine with each other. And if they are combining, means they are deviating from their behavior. So we can't say that no gas on earth is proper ideal gas. Means no gas just strictly follow all the laws. Okay, accord means accompanied with all the theories. So, in all situations, the deviation from ideal behavior can take place. In standard situation, it can take place. Okay. So, for the gases, these gases, a special type of equation was developed. So, which was formed by combining all the three important laws which we have learned earlier. So, means if you say that the gas which just follow all the three laws have ideal gas behavior, so ideal gas equation was proposed by the scientists. So what was that? We learn this thing that from Boyle's law we know that at constant temperature and number of molecules, volume is direct inversely proportional to the pressure. And from Charles' law, we just learned that at constant pressure and number of moles, the volume is directly proportional to temperature. And from Avogadro law, at constant pressure and temperature, the volume is directly proportional to the number of molecules. And if we just combine all the three equations, what we'll get? That V is directly proportional to NTP. Okay. And if just we just remove this proportionality sign and just put a proportionality constant R, so V is equal to R N T P, right? So R is the proportionality constant, and if we just rearrange this equation, what we'll obtain, PV is equal to nRT. Correct? Pressure volume is equal to nRT, and R is the proportionality constant. And if you just rearrange it again, so R is equal to PV upon NT. Correct? So R is known as the gas constant, and it is same for all the gases. Means if you want to just find out the behavior of the gas, just means any gas, whatever is ideal gas, normal gases, inert gases, what the ideal value of R will be same. Okay. So that is why if it is showing same property to every gas, so that is means it has universal same property, so that is why this is known as universal gas constant. Okay. And this equation is known as ideal gas equation. So if someone asks you what is PV is equal to nRT, then this is the ideal gas equation. Okay, the P is equal to pressure, V is equal to volume, and T is equal to temperature. And after the second equation, this is 5.18, what we'll find out that R depends upon the unit in which pressure, volume, and temperature are measured. If I have specific pressure, temperature, and this volume, so R is affected by these. Okay, so if three variable in a equation are known, that fourth can be calculated. So if you know one out of these variables, then you can find out the value of another one, right?